And we will bring our public hearing to order. This is the public hearing to approve the fiscal year 2013-2014 city budget. Before we do that or get into that, obviously I'm not Randy. Randy was unable to make it, and so he asked me at the last minute to step in, so I am stepping in for him as Mayor Pro Tem. Also, just so everybody knows, I'd like to introduce Vicki Schroeder. So Vicki, welcome. Yes, yes. If there's anybody present who may require special assistance to participate at this public meeting, please let us know and we will try to accommodate you. Roll call.
Mayor Fetter is absent. Councilmember Crum?
Here.
Councilmember Pouch?
Here.
Mayor. Councilmember Johnson?
Here.
Councilmember Clark? And Councilmember LaFever?
Here.
Are there any amendments or removals to tonight's public hearing agenda? If not, we made a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the...
We got a motion to approve the agenda tonight. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
So we got a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Crum. I'm a little rusty. And I say aye as well. So tonight's agenda has been approved. Agenda item number 5, comments for or against approving the fiscal year 2013-2014 city budget. The proposed budget was published in the February 20th paper. Tonight we're here to pass the proposed budget at this public hearing, and our budget must be at the state or go into the state by March 15th. We have a total budget, if you look at total revenues and other sources, of $1.859 million, and we have expenditures of $1.805 million. So the revenues are more than the expenses of $53,759. Property valuations in the city have increased $1 million, so it's gone from $36.7 million to $37.7 million. And the tax rate is going up from 14.089 to 14.12076. Does the council have anything to add? Are there any comments for or against approving the fiscal year 2013-2014 city budget? Susie?
I just have a question on the community and economic development. I mean, actual was 11,343, and now you're budgeting 187,000. What would that be?
Do you have the detail, Marilyn? And what center was it? Cost center?
Community and economic development. Council, please feel free to answer my question. You don't have to rely on that one. Dee, do you have any explanation as why it's going up so much? Did you even look at the budget? Do you understand the budget?
Yes.
So can you tell me why it's going up? You must not have the experience.
Maybe not.
Skip, do you know why?
I don't recall. The list of last notes from the last meetings.
And you didn't bring them?
I was running a little pressed to get here, as you noticed. But anyway. Yeah, I don't recall that line item.
Nick,
Community
do you know?
Development.
Nick, do you know?
I don't recall.
Did you bring your notes?
No, I did not.
Did you even take any notes?
Okay, that line item, oops, I'm sorry.
That's fine, I was just waiting for an answer.
Okay, so that line item is the housing and urban renewal line item. That went up from, the estimate was 298 at the end of 2013, and it's going down to 182 in 2014. The difference there, I believe, is at the, and I'm going to be honest, at the HUD difference, is that what, the dollars that we got for the city? Yeah, right, CDBG housing.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it is.
You must have taken your notes.
I had to find the right page. Any other comments for or against? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our public hearing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing on to approve the 2013-2014 city budget.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Councilmember LaFever,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Crum,
Aye.
and Fouch says aye as well. Meeting adjourned. We will bring our regular city council meeting to order. It is 6:55, Monday, March 4th, immediately following the public hearing. If there's anyone present who may require special assistance to participate at this public meeting, please let us know, and we'll try to accommodate you. Roll call.
Mayor Fetter is absent. Councilmember Crump.
Here.
Councilmember Fouch.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Clark. Here. Councilmember LaFever.
Here.
Are there any amendments or removals to tonight's agenda? I would state that I had a conversation with Jim Edelman, and he would ask to be removed from tonight's agenda, and would like to reserve the right to be added on to the next agenda. Any other amendments or removals? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Do
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
you have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember LaFever,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Crum,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Agenda item number 5 is approved consent agenda. The consent agenda is the minutes of the February 18th regular city council meeting, set date of Monday, March 18th, 2013 for a regular city council meeting. Approved claims register and cash report. Building permits were approved for the following: Gary Irvin, 206 West 5th Street, demolition.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Councilmember LaFever,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Crum,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Tonight's consent agenda has been approved. Agenda item number 6 is approve resolution 13-03, a resolution approving fiscal year 2013-2014 city budget. I'd entertain a motion. I guess I gotta read it, don't I? Yeah. City of Logan Resolution 13-03, resolution adopting the annual budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014. Be it resolved, the City Council of Logan, Iowa. The annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014 as set forth in the budget summary certificate and in the detailed budget in support thereof, showing the revenue estimates and appropriation expenses and allocations to functions and activities for said fiscal year is adopted, and the clerk is directed to make the filings required by law and to set up the books in accordance with the summary and details as adopted.
Excuse me, Mike. Do we have a current copy? Are you reading, I noticed the dates you were saying were 14?
Right, that's right.
Is that what you've got on your copies?
Yeah, I have 13.
They actually sent, or set in front of you there, that was a mistake. It actually did say 13. The new one in front of you should say 14.
Same page. Please continue.
Do you have it there?
Yeah.
Okay. Passed and approved March 4th, 2013 by the following vote.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 13-033, a resolution adopting the annual budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember LaFever?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Crum?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Motion passed. We will skip over agenda item number 7. He has to be on next council agenda. Agenda item number 8, Citizen Renee Springston to discuss animal ordinance pertaining to chickens. Renee, you can state your name and address.
My name is Renee Springston. I live at 105 West 4th Street, Logan, Iowa. I guess council members, I have Mayor Fetter, but you're looking different tonight. I stand before you tonight wearing only one hat. Please know that my personal opinions have been laid aside, and tonight I stand before you as an advocacy specialist for people with disabilities. I refuse to use any names or identifiable information, as I find it disgraceful and I have never had any permission in any form to do so. A few months ago, I had an in-depth discussion with a parent who expressed her concern in regard to some issues going on in the city. We discussed several topics, and one of the topics that came up was that of some sort of chicken dispute. During this conversation, it was discussed that the chickens on the property were allegedly illegal and that there were people trying to have them taken away. It was at that time that the parent shared with me a delivery that left her child disabled with the diagnosis of a condition left her with a form of autism. At that time, I expressed my outrage at how the citizens of this community could do such a horrific thing as having these chickens removed. However, at that time, I didn't understand that this information had not been out there, so none of the citizens knew the whole background. I was then told that she has not and did not have any, well, hang on one second. I was then told that she has not and did not have any intention of sharing this information. I stated my understanding. I then went on to tell her that chickens have been found to be very therapeutic for children and adults with the same or similar diagnosis as their child. I told this parent I would back her up and explained in great detail what she had to do in order to get an exception to the city's ordinance. I had even told her that if she needed me, I would do anything possible to assist her family and her child. In a nutshell, this parent, for whatever reason, decided not to take my professional advice, which was to approach the board and explain their daughter's situation, diagnosis, and how having the chickens removed would most assuredly impact this child in a negative and unhealthy fashion. So tonight I ask that each and every one of you put away everything you know or think you know. Put away your hatred for each other, all your personal agendas, and just this once, instead of thinking of yourselves, come together in the manner in which you were voted in and do what is in the best interest of this young person. You have all failed this young lady. Her parents, who refused to take appropriate action and lay blame on others. The city council, who saw everything going on and did nothing, and I failed her by not coming to you sooner, even when I knew what I needed to do. I know that this was brought to the variance committee, but again, I told the family that the variance committee, the night of the meeting, was not the appropriate forum for this issue. And this issue was out of their jurisdiction. Please see your City of Logan ordinance, if you have them. Under Chapter 1, Section .03, which reads 1.03, City Powers. This is not in its entirety, but I can read it. We all know how much I love standing up here. You will find in that section that the city may exercise any power and perform any function it deems appropriate to protect and preserve and improve the health and welfare of its residents. One of the backgrounds for having chickens, and it's funny, and I don't know where it comes from, but the definition is an emotional support animal. And a chicken is what is more often used for children and adults with autism spectrum disorders. An emotional support animal, ESA, is a U.S. legal term for a pet which provides therapeutic benefit to its owner through companionship and affection. Emotional support animals are not specifically trained to ameliorate disability as psychiatric service dogs are. They require only as much training as an ordinary pet requires in order to live peacefully among humans without being a nuisance or a danger to others. In the U.S., 2 federal laws grant special rights to some owners of emotional support animals. Some questions that you might have. How many chickens does it take, not to cross the road, but to be therapeutic? While I cannot find a number or amount that is appropriate for chickens, I think it could safely be said that the number of chickens that were parted with, that the young lady has an attachment to, would be sufficient. Not anymore, as it is not about feeding a family or families, but what is going to bring normalcy back to the girl's life. Are the animals service animals protected under ADA? The answer is no. Not under ADA, as a service animal has to be able to be trained specifically. However, there are allowances made for therapeutic animals, i.e. chickens, dogs, cats, etc. There was a family in Florida, and here is a quote from one of their articles. Little JJ called the chickens his ducks, and his parents said tending to the animals had helped him become more social and talkative. A doctor had suggested the animals would be therapeutic. The family said, and the eggs were used in the boys' all-organic diet. Another excerpt, yet the best part is not keeping the garden pest-free or even the laying of eggs. It is the gentle blessing of a bond that these birds can bring to a special needs child. An autistic or Asperger's individual inherently needs to be assisted away from overfixation on the inner self. This encouragement to outward awareness and not to fear, it can be found in the antics and curious jerky head motions that catch the eye made by all chickens. It is so captivating and funny. They will insatiably draw the autistic into attention to and care for the chickens in a way that will be a mutual bond that will last all of the pet's 15-year lifespan. Chickens, as with most pets, will coax a special needs child to innately accept that there is fascinating chaos in life and that unpredictable things will occur with fun result. I have some handouts. If you want them, I can make copies of them. I didn't make enough for everybody because y'all tire me out. So, but that's it in a nutshell if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, please. Get the copies.
Okay.
We'll make copies and send them out.
I would agree. I think we all need to get copies of what you presented. We appreciate you taking the time and the effort and the heart to present.
Well, I would also like to offer my free service for you guys if you decide that this is something that you can do to come up with, because you know it's an exception, so you're going to have that all worded correctly and have the right things in there. So if you need that help, then you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item number 9, and it's approved resolution 13-04. This is a resolution outlining the compensation for Peace Officer Justin Miller. This is resolution number 13-04, a resolution outlining the compensation for Peace Officer Justin Miller. Whereas the City of Logan, subject to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 30, Paragraph 30-05, are duly required to establish the compensation of any city peace officer, and whereas the City Council passed a motion for the hiring of Justin Miller by a 4-0 vote on January 22nd, 2013 during the regular City Council meeting, and whereas the City Council set a wage of $13.02 per hour included in the passed motion. Be it resolved by the City Council of Logan, Iowa, Section 1, the person in position named above is to be paid the salary and wages indicated, and the clerk is authorized to issue warrants, checks, less legally required, or authorized deductions from the amount set above on a 2-week pay period and make such contributions to IPERS and Social Security or other purposes as required by law or authorized by council, all subject to review by the council. Section 2, the city clerk is hereby directed to publish this resolution 13-04 passed this 4th day of March by the City Council.
I have a question. Shouldn't that be $14.86 an hour? The $13.02 an hour has to do with the contract that we have with him to have him go through school. So that, and that money comes back. But I had sent out to the police committee a email stating that there could be some differences here as far as housing and what we could do to offset that housing, so that the city wouldn't have to pay for it. So I think it needs to be $14.86.
So the 13.02 in your mind is the salary wage,
Yeah.
but not.
No, what that is you know about the contract that we have
Right,
with
right.
them, saying if we send it to the academy for this many weeks, and then because we've had such a problem with getting some of our money, retaining officers and getting our money back, we have that contract that says from the time you go to the academy, you're only paid minimum wage. And then, but we stretch it out so because nobody can live on minimum wage, we stretch that out over a 33-week period, which gives him more money over that period of time, so he can make it through the academy. But the difference now is that because Justin comes in with a degree, and we can do it in an 8-week period rather than a 13-week period, it's not going to cost us as much money. So what I think we need to do is maybe hold off on this until I can discuss it with everybody as to what we're trying to do here.
Possibly so, because I think part of this, the way this is stated, is we're dictating what we already passed in a motion.
I think we just need to hold up until I could talk to the committee and then go from there. So that's what I'd like to do. Does that work?
Does that work with you all? I think that works.
So hold on for now.
Good.
Okay.
Works for me.
Hey, Elmer, you said that there was an email sent?
Pardon me?
There is an email sent to the police committee?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
I sent it to you,
Okay. I
the
didn't.
mayor, and Trump.
If you can resend that to me, I would appreciate it. Thank you. We'll table resolution 13-04 and put that on the next agenda by a recommendation as well from the police committee back to the council. Agenda item number 10, approve resolution 13-05, resolution outlining the compensation for new city administrator Vicki Schroeder. Resolution number 13-05, a resolution outlining the compensation for new city administrator Vicki Schroeder. Whereas the City of Logan, subject to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 21, Paragraph 21-01, are duly required to establish the compensation of any city administrator. And whereas the City Council passed a motion for the hiring of Vicki Schroeder by a 3-2 vote on February 18th, 2013 during a regular City Council meeting. And whereas the City Council set a wage of $17 per hour included in the passed motion. Be it resolved by the City Council of Logan, Iowa, Section 1, the person in position named above is to be paid the salary and wages indicated, and the clerk is authorized to issue warrants, checks, less legally required or authorized deductions from the amount set above on a 2-week pay period and make such contributions to IPERS and Social Security or other purpose as required by law or authorized by council, all subject to review by the council. Section 2, the city clerk is hereby directed to publish a resolution 13-05 passed this 4th day of March by the city council.
One question, apparently in the current date, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
One question, currently in the current pay period, we've authorized to pay Vicki under a minimum wage basis. Is this retroactive then, back to her start date? Kind of like we were talking with Justin, how do we do that? Is it from this date forward? Do we need to make an motion to cover that?
I would probably state that it has to be, I mean, we don't want to go back to I think we need to go back, like Justin, to January when we originally passed it. So it makes sense to me to go back when we originally passed the other on this one as well.
So how do we go about that? What's your recommendation?
We probably need to have a motion.
Because you have the date in there of 2/18.
Right.
That cover it? You don't understand the question. Okay. The question is, current pay period, the city has authorized the clerk to pay her minimum wage for this current week that she's worked.
Where has the city authorized that? How has the city authorized that?
Pardon?
Where and how has the city authorized that?
I was informed by the clerk that that was.
Where's the resolution? Isn't that what we're talking about?
We are.
We have to have a resolution before we can pay it now. Even though she's owed under wage an hour FLSN. I don't think you can just throw a wage at her without a resolution.
I agree.
That's what code says.
I agree. I guess my question is, does this cover them back to her start date?
I think the way it's written, it's going forward. This is going forward.
She needs to be paid for the time she has worked. And that this resolution can authorize the back payment if this resolution is passed and signed off by the mayor. That's the predicament that this resolution brings to the table. How do we pay her?
Well, as written, though, it doesn't go back. As written, it's going forward.
It puts the city in a position. The city has an obligation under the law to have paid an employee, otherwise it will violate.
It's my understanding that Randy came in and talked to Ms. Schroeder and said, when we hire temporary help to assist here at the city, we pay the temporary help $7.50 an hour, $7.25 an hour. And he said he would pay her through that week at $7.25 an hour.
What is her job title?
And who hired her to do that temporary work? She was hired as the clerk administrator.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing hiring her as a temp.
My understanding is the mayor did.
As a temporary employee? I don't know that I see a problem with a temporary employee, however, that also goes to the, I mean, at some point, an issue that may need to be brought up in closed session, however, at some point, a person who comes to work under a motion that hires them for city administrator isn't coming as a temporary employee. So it goes to her understanding. And it's really unfortunate that this is where we're at.
I would agree, it's really unfortunate this is where we're at. But my understanding is that Randy came up her first day and made the decision to hire her as a temporary employee, and I stand corrected at $7.25, not $7.50, as a temporary employee.
Then I think that's appropriate if she's, that's appropriate from that point on. How much does she get paid for the time that she was there and up until the time Randy talked to her? time it lapsed, I don't care, then there's no issue. And that's probably what happened, I don't know the facts about it.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 13-05.
I'll second it.
Do we have any discussion?
I talked to Vicki the other day, and she realizes that I don't have any hard feelings against her, but I still don't feel that we should pay somebody that can't do Maryland's job more money than we pay Maryland now. So.
So I believe Maryland's current wage is $13.78 an hour, just for reference. Question I have is, have we done an appropriate and complete background check yet? I understand that we called some of the previous employers, Dee, and thank you for getting that to us. Have we done a complete background check, including criminal and all the things that we do in a normal background check?
My understanding, we hadn't done, previous employees, we had not done those background checks on a paid-for basis, approved by any expense to do those background checks. It was a reference check scenario that I saw in each instance. So, and I saw nothing in looking through the city code where there was any indication that a background check was required, or even in our personnel committee functions and actions. There's been background checks is a new discussion.
And I'm going back from memory here, but I believe all the time that we hired, my first 12 years as being mayor, I believe we did do a background check in all those cases that included criminal. And I'm going back from memory here, Skip, I'm being honest with you there. And particularly, you know, somebody, whether it's me, you, or anybody, and again, I had a chance to visit with Vicki as well too, and told Vicki this isn't personal, and it's unfortunate you're coming into this situation. I want to make sure I say that publicly as well. Again, you know, fiduciary responsibility for a $1.8 million budget, I think it's just prudent and good sense to do the appropriate background checks. So that's just my comment on the background. And I think we can get those done through Elmer and the police department, is how we normally got those done. I also have a concern about the wages are not commensurate with experience. So I agree with Denny.
The effort to discuss those wages was attempted. One of the last council meetings when Vicki's name was brought up, the mayor at that time didn't want to discuss that. He had other intentions and desires. So that was not done, and based on the posting that we posted, that was the bottom rung of that range that we posted for that job. The expectation was that was the range. That's what I presented, was the bottom of that range.
In that bottom of the range, really, as you look at that, you're assuming the person is the most qualified and meets the minimum qualifications. And I don't think in this case she's the most qualified.
I do. They have the 3 votes and we have 2, and it ain't gonna do any good to pass this out anymore.
Any other further discussion? Councilmember LaFever?
Aye.
Councilmember Clark?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Crum?
Nay.
And I vote nay as well. By motion, that passed 3-2. I would like to, that resolution passed 3-2. I would like to read a memo to the city council members here. This is a memo to the city council of Logan. Veto of resolution number 13.05, a resolution outlining the compensation for the new city administrator, Vicki Schroeder. This is my notice for vetoing the above action during the 3/4/13 Logan City Council meeting. I've set out below my reasons for the action. 1, no appropriate and complete background check has not been concluded on someone that's been handling or will handle a $1.8 million budget. 2, wages are not commensurate with experience. Respectfully, Michael S. Fouch, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Logan. Agenda item number 11, citizen questions and comments. So please state your name again and address. I'm sorry.
Renee Springston, 105 West 4th Street, Logan, Iowa. I did just want to throw out there, because in my haste to rewrite my, I think it was like 6-page letter to y'all earlier, I left out the fact that I do have the backing and the support from a lot of our citizens in town, including, you know, the majority of the Citizens for Logan, in regard to the child needing the chickens.
Any other questions or comments?
Where does that leave us, Mike? As far as how do
You want to come up and...
I can't answer it. Jim Edelman, 201 North Lynn. I won't go into the other litany of former city council, whatever. I'm just asking, where does that leave us with Vicky's situation now? Does she move forward as a temporary employee? Is she not allowed in the office? Is she, I mean, I would think there would have to be some discussion as to that.
I want to be as fair and honest as I can to Vicki. And again, I apologize. I would like to sit down and visit with Vicki after this, because going forward, you're not authorized to get any pay. So you probably don't want to work for no pay. So we probably have to have a discussion after this. Okay.
Can we hear this?
I will repeat. So more affirmative. So based on the veto, you do not report to work because you will not get paid, and we need to live up to the labor laws.
So clearly there's a deadlock on this issue. The council has the will to have Vicki report to work and do her job that she's been asked to do with a passing resolution or passing motion to have the job. The mayor pro tem, who I'll have to investigate if he's got the authority to do what he just did. But with that being said, we obviously have some homework to look on this. But again, as far as I'm concerned, Vicki's been hired, and we expect her to do a job, and I would expect that she be given the keys and support to go forward and do that job.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to ask the city attorney to comment on that.
Just real briefly, Aaron Rodenberg, city attorney. I don't know that there's a lot of understanding of what should happen here, but I talked to the League of Cities, Terry Timmons. He didn't know that our code would be different than the statutes, and it in fact is on this specific issue. And because our code sets out that wage, term, and duties are to be spelled out by resolution, to hear that, and he's been at the League of Cities for over 20 years. So this is a new situation that this council would not know how to deal with. I had to research. I still don't know how to deal with it, other than to say that the city must inform her not to report because there's no authority to pay her, and the city would just be accruing a liability under the labor laws. And Mr. Johnson's correct. She's hired. So at some point, this is a de facto termination, or she will hang around and wait for a resolution. That's where we're at. And at some point, there may be an unemployment case that the city may inherit because of this situation.
Pam Aviat, 207 North First Avenue. I guess I haven't worked with government, but normally when you offer an employment to an individual, you have a compensation package in place, and you have their salary laid out, and there is an offer and an acceptance. And it seems to me that what's happened is we have somebody offering a job that all the requirements have not been laid out. So now they're coming backwards at it, and I guess my question is, does a council member even have the power to offer that job? Shouldn't that come from the mayor along with the compensation package after it's been determined?
I don't know the answer. I do know that the code authorizes the majority. Look, we have a majority who's made a motion and asserted their legislative power. That's what has happened. To hire with purported and or actual authority. And I think Mr. Johnson would argue that it's actual authority. It appears to me that he has the political will to do so. However, there's the resolution, the requirement that is not necessarily common among cities, that is baffling on in a situation where the mayor and or the minority has a veto power greater than the majority will. So it's interesting that the contract authority cannot be asserted by the majority. It doesn't seem right, but that's where we're at.
Well, so not to put the city at any other risk or liability, again, I would state that you don't come into work tomorrow because you're not going to get paid, and I don't want that to happen. You're welcome. Any other citizens' questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, good. Councilmember LaFever, Clark, Johnson, Crum,
Aye.
and I for me as well. Meeting is adjourned.